Okay, for the last 2 months I've been working intermittently on this livestock rack for this 2006 Honda Ridgeline. Just a few loose ends I wanted to wrap up for anyone who was seriously interested in building something similar for their Ridgeline. I think it would work for 2006 through 2011 if I'm not mistaken. First thing I wanted to mention was these horizontal boards on the sides. The standards are cut 4 feet tall. That's the upright 2x4s, and so the horizontal boards are parallel with the bottom of the bed. However, they seem to be about an inch lower in the back relative to the roof rack and to the horizontal pinstripe down the side of the truck, just below the windows and below the hood, below the back of the bed. I think it would have looked better if I had raised it up an inch and made it parallel. And then had I done that, I probably also would have sawed these boards at an angle. And if you look at the first video, you can see how they were cut then. And I would have left them cut at a slant that way. How far back I would have extended them would have just depended on how they looked. But anyway, with the slight incongruity that I'm pointing out here, I thought it better just to cut them off straight. And you can do as you see fit. The second thing I wanted to mention was taking my cue from CT Naturalist. I trimmed these upright standards. Sorry for that little disruption. I trimmed these upright standards down here so that the trunk lid will open. But unlike him, I also sawed this board in the back at an angle, and it's hard to see now, but this piece here is at an angle, so I sawed those boards at a slant. Also, I put a spacer in behind, which is sawed similar. You see the brown board, I hope, on this, and that holds this tight between the metal brace and the side of the truck bed. Once again, this brace is cut out of sheet metal, and on this older model truck, whereas he used 2 brackets here, I only had 1 bracket, so only 1 set of pre-drilled holes, and I felt this was stronger than the way he did that. The next thing has to do with this back gate. Notice these pins, which initially I merely thought of as a way of holding the gate in, but as I worked on it, I realized that they would work as hinges too. You see how I have lifted this up, and it raises up and down on them. Now, something, if you like that hinge function, something you have to notice is that you want these, I have this top board permanent, and this second board pushed into the top board and made it difficult to raise this clear up. And it raises up on the left side because the pin is a little bit off center towards the rear. And then on the right side, the pin is more centered, and so that caused me to run out of room. I hope this makes sense. But anyway, when I put this back down, you see how it slips in there. I had to saw these boards off a little this board is fixed, this board swings, and so when it swings up, it'll miss this board enough to let me raise it clear up. So if you want that hinge action, if you want to use those pins as hinges, then and actually the hinges aren't totally necessary, I learned. If you have this top board and possibly even the top two boards fixed on the outer standards, it provides the backstop at the top, and then this board at the bottom, you see it's wedged in as lateral support, this brown board, and it's pretty easy to get out when I want it out in order to open the trunk lid, but it's wedged in tight enough that an animal won't be able to dislodge it. And then I have this bottom board as a backstop. Sawed these holes out on either side. I attached them with screw posts so there's nothing sticking up, and then just drop that in the hole, and that provides a good strong backstop for the gate if I want to have the tailgate open. So also just happen to have these boards, which I can also put in there, but I didn't want to rely on them unless in the process of hauling animals they might slip out, and this other board won't slip out. So I close this and we're good to go. Very sturdy. I just happen to have a little varnish, polyurethane varnish this is an old rough cut cherry board that I happen to have laying around the place that I used for the wedge board, and then which again was meant to provide lateral support. And then I ran out of varnish, and so I used some enamel paint for these holes that I cut out. Once again, the wire mesh, I couldn't find anything laying around anywhere to use as CT Naturalist did, and livestock racks that were available around here weren't the right size. They didn't fit perfectly, and they didn't look right to me. So I ended up ordering this, with including shipping, was about $42 from I think a place called Global Supply. But anyway, it's a 1/4 inch wire mesh shelving rack, and they have them all different sizes. This is 2 foot by 4 foot. I attached it at the top using machine screws or bolts with wing nuts on the other side. A piece of I actually trimmed that board off the end of the same board that I used for a backstop. I thought that came out very nicely. I tacked a couple of boards on the standards to hold it at the bottom, and I put a screw in the center with a big washer. I think that will be sufficient. It's very sturdy. Please pardon the disruptions in this video, and you know, I've learned that if I want to communicate something, I just have to do the best I can. It's not going to be perfect. The rack isn't perfect. Again, if I had to do it over again, I would raise that back approximately an inch. I would be alert that these pins are going to also function as hinges, and I would put them a little bit off center towards the rear, so as this top board that's screwed to the inner gate would not raise up and hit the fixed board that's screwed to the standard, the fixed standard. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm sure that if you carefully watch CT Naturalist video and carefully watch my 3 videos, and giving your superior carpentry skills and engineering acumen, that you can build an even better one. But this one meets my expectations and to some degree exceeds them, and that's all due to CT Naturalist's video, which showed me what screws to use and how to generally manage the mesh behind that back glass. The sheet metal braces are my invention, and the gate is totally my invention for good or for ill, but I'm pretty happy with it. Good luck, and may the force be with you.